The flip-flop is the simplest shoe on the planet. It consists of a piece of rubber, plastic, leather, or woven material in the outline of a foot, with the strap holding the sandal to a wearer's toes. The name comes from the sound the sandals make when they slap the walking feet. The earliest record of people wearing the flip-flop comes from Egypt, but many ancient cultures had their own variants of the footwear. In the Greek version, the toe strap ran between the first and second toes, while Roman sandals had the strap between the second and third toes. The Mesopotamians wore the strap between the third and fourth toes. In India, toe knob sandals had a knob between the first and second toes. Modern flip-flops derive from Japanese zeros, which were often worn with socks dividing the big toe from the rest, and were typically made of rice straw. During World War II, Japan seized much of Southeast Asia's rubber. In 1945, devastated from the war, the country set about establishing a cheap industry that could rebuild its economy. The Japanese used their rubber reserves from the war to mass-produce the simplest Japanese footwear. Rubber thus replaced rice straw as the major material for the flip-flop. In the 1950s, flip-flops became popular in the United States as soldiers returning from occupied Japan brought zeros home. The sandals have subsequently undergone redesign, often appearing in bright colors in line with Californian beach culture. They have remained popular due to their convenience, and are often worn with bathing suits or summer clothing. Some people also wear dressy versions for more formal occasions. Despite their popularity, flip-flops provoke some questions. Their simple design is responsible for many foot injuries. Another issue is the suitability of exposing feet on the street and places other than the beach. But even more serious is their environmental impact. Millions of plastic discards end up in landfills or the ocean, releasing chemicals and at the same time taking centuries to decompose. Ships are the lifeline of trade among countries. Almost everything, from food to machinery, comes by way of the sea in huge ships piloted by captains. But the captain of a ship is responsible for guiding the vessel until they hit a port, waiting to enter the harbor. The task of bringing the ship into the harbor and anchoring it is taken up by a different captain. This captain is called a marine pilot. A marine pilot is a boat pilot with specialized knowledge of a particular port or harbor. The pilot is needed to direct large ships into a port, where there are often deep water channels surrounded by shallower seabeds. Without the services of a marine pilot, docking ships would be hazardous. There would be a real chance of running aground and damaging the ship and the cargo, some of which might be dangerous if released into a water-based ecosystem. In addition to the shallower seabeds, tide and wind pose further challenges for bringing ships into a port. During different tides, currents may change from one direction to the other. The same strategy for docking a vessel during an incoming tide may not work during an outgoing tide. Also, the wind can significantly alter the direction of the ship and how it reacts, adding to the difficulty of anchoring the ship. Marine pilotage is a job that requires a high degree of proficiency as well as quick and independent thinking. Above all, it is about risk management. A marine pilot goes on board at a crucial time and controls the vessel based on his or her knowledge of the port and the situation at hand. The pilot is responsible for not only the safety of the ship but also the protection of the port and the marine environment. Probably the most widely used oil in cooking, olive oil is made by crushing olives with stone or steel blades to release the oil. Extra virgin oil, the finest grade, is made from the first pressing of the olives and has a very low acidity rate, under 1%. To be qualified as extra virgin, the oil must also pass both an official test in a laboratory and a sensory evaluation by a trained tasting panel. It must be free from impurity, while exhibiting some fruitiness and creating a pleasant bitter flavor along with a peppery sensation in the mouth. Second on the ranking is virgin olive oil. It is also a first pressing, but has a slightly higher acidity level, under 2%. Lastly, pure olive oil is the cheapest olive oil. It is refined to remove its impurities and blended to improve flavor, and is recommended for all-purpose cooking. Packaging and storage also have an impact on the quality of olive oil. Olive oil spoils quickly when exposed to direct sunlight, so it should be stored in the dark at 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. Moisture and oxygen promote oxidation and therefore limit its shelf life. Plastic containers usually do not provide adequate protection from light, heat, or moisture. Additionally, small particles in plastics can leak into the oil, which further reduces its quality. Olive oil tasters have long adopted descriptive terms such as pure and light to evaluate the quality of olive oil. Recently, however, the International Olive Council, IOC, is seeking input on test methods to improve the transparency of the testing process and boost the accuracy of the results. A redefinition of the term olive oil is also proposed to make a clear distinction between virgin olive oil and pure olive oil. Industry members of the IOC hope to promote the trade of olive oil by initiating these changes. Researchers in Japan have installed on a train a speaker that barks like a dog and snorts like a deer in order to prevent collisions with animals on the tracks. The country has been troubled by a problem with trains colliding with deer on its railways. According to Japan's Transport Ministry, there were 613 cases of train services suspended or delayed for at least 30 minutes resulting from collisions with deer and other wild animals in 2016 to 17. Deer are attracted to railway lines because of a need for iron in their diets. They lick the rails to pick up iron filings caused by the action of wheels against tracks. This dietary need has led to a constant battle to keep the deer separate from the unforgiving nature of tons of onrushing rolling stock. In the past, flashing red lights and even lion faces have been unsuccessfully trialed in an attempt to keep deer off the tracks. This new device has been invented by a team at the country's Railway Technical Research Institute, RTRI. RTRI officials explain that deer have a habit of repeatedly snorting short, shrill sounds to alert other deer when they perceive danger. The barking of the hound, which drives deer to panic, strengthens the effect of the warning noise, according to the RTRI. When the deer hear a combination of a 3-second long recording of a deer's snort and 20 seconds of a barking dog, they panic and flee rapidly. RTRI researchers say late-night tests, at times when deer are most frequently seen by railway tracks, have resulted in a 45% reduction of deer sighting. Future plans include static barking sites where deer are commonly seen, but the noises will not be blared in areas where people live beside the tracks.